What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you all know by now, is the podcast where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the #1 scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's Rex with 3 X's. That's right, kids. R-E-triple-X. You might also know me as the King of Sleaze, a.k.a. the hair metal high priest, and most importantly, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. Take a look right there and right here, and you should be able to tell, even the untrained eye should be able to tell that you were looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a few grams. I got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop, Baba, Loo, Boppa, Wop, Bam, Bam, Shazam, hot damn. Whew. Feeling good? And, of course, everybody in the house, including you all out there, looking good. You know how I get that accomplished. Right there, kids. Coming to you, as always, from the Lavender Lounge of Love. This is where it all goes down, kids. And joined, as always, by the great Keith Hernandez Puppet, bringing you the No Frills podcast. You don't get no frills, but you do get thrills, and that's looking at the face of the second greatest frontman to ever do it. And if you're watching right now, please like and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to follow Pod Scum on Facebook for all your Pod Scum updates and, you know, blah, 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 whatever's. Whatever the fuck I do on Facebook. And, of course, if you're looking to get into my band, Love Sword, I'm still looking for players. You can't be the front man because you're looking at the hardest working man in show business. And as I mentioned earlier, the second greatest front man to ever do it. But if you'd like to be working the band as another capacity, i.e. you're a fantastic guitarist, drummer, bass player, hit me up. Everybody seems a little intimidated, and rightfully so. I understand. You know, you're looking at the quaff, you're looking at the charismatic front man, the good looks, the charm, the wit. I know, I'm the total package. Agreed. That being said, got another great episode for you guys that I am very excited about. But then again, I'm always excited about all of them. So, and speaking of all of them, if you are on the channel, please, I encourage you to go back and peruse the other 130 some odd episodes. And I am in contact with my guest here, who is on his way in here. So I will say, while we're waiting for him to get in here, that I would, as always, love to extend a huge thank you to all of my guests who come on here, and there have been a lot of them. And we have one right now, so I'll shut the fuck up and we'll get down to it and chop it up in my Pod Scum. Let's fucking do it. Hey, Rob, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man?
Well, I got you. All right. I'm glad we were able to make this happen, man. Rob Rampy, of course, from D.R.I. Before we jump in to the interview here, well, let me backtrack a little bit. What was your upbringing like? How soon did you get a pair of drumsticks in your hand and really know that music is what you wanted to do?
That's kind of funny. I learned how to play music in elementary school.
Okay.
And once I figured out there was more to instruments than just the double bass stand up and the violins and stuff like that and the flutes and everything. Once I realized that there was a drumming department over in the gym area, for the football team. They had like high school drummers and stuff. And I met this one guy. His name was Dennis Mooseburger, and he sold me his first drum set. It's a Ludwig, all black Ludwig with zildjian cymbals, just like the perfect rock drum set at the time. And I got it for $200, and I was like 10 years old. And I took it home, and I set it up in my room. And I brought my friends over, and we all sat there and said, "Okay, what are we gonna do?" One guy could play guitar a little bit, so we were, my first putting the band together in the room. And then was weird, dude. I sat down and it was like I could play like AC/DC rock songs like right away. I just had the natural ability for the hi-hat and the kick and the snare.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just
Came
like
natural.
right off the bat. It was like perfect. I didn't have to really do anything. That's when I knew. I mean, right when I sat down, I could do it. You know, it's like I could play Highway to Hell, which was being played on the radio the whole time. It's like I could play the first opening, you know, 8 bars to that before I could even play the drums that I knew about. So it was like, that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do.
And you had pretty tolerant parents, because a lot of times kids come home and they say, geez, mom, dad, I want to take up the drums. And instantly parents' reaction sometimes, especially to the drums, is, oh God, the drums, really?
I think I might have got the drums really at one point, but I was so excited that it was kind of toned down for me to hear it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but parents were okay with it?
Why can't you stay with the cello? You know, it's like, you ever try to lug a cello home on a school bus miles from your school? Oh, yeah. It is
and it's not very rock and roll, the cello, either. I mean,
it is nowadays a little bit.
I suppose it could be. Yeah, that's true. I digress there. You're probably right. So you brought up AC/DC, but so is that the first music that really resonated with you? Do you remember a certain song or an artist or an album that really connected with you?
One of my favorite drumming record at the time was, I think, which one was it? The Ozzy Osbourne's record. I don't know if it's Blizzard of Oz or Diary of a Madman, that had a couple really killer. The opening, Crazy Train, and there's another one, and then some of the drum beats on that record was just so insane at that time, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, that I want to do that. I want to play like that. And then shortly thereafter, one of my friends brought home the Merciful Fate record.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like 1980, you know, so it's like they had just come out, and I think it was their first or their second year they're playing, and then somebody brought in Don't Break the Oath, and then I heard that, and it was like, dude, I know that's what I want to do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that was my first real underground metal kind of drumming that I had heard, and it was so futuristic at the time because there was nothing like it.
Right.
Just totally incredible. I mean, it's like, how could they have come up with that, you know, years before it was invented? Almost, it seems like it was
ahead of its time.
Very
ahead of its time. And so fast forwarding, you joined D.R.I. in 1990, but they're already a band that's been going strong for a couple years. How do you get hooked in with those guys? You audition for them? Did you previously know them?
Okay, that was kind of a cool thing. I had always been interested in D.R.I., one of my favorite bands growing up. You know, dealing with it was one of my go-to favorite records around 1985 and 86. And I had just started playing punk rock music for about a year or two. And then I joined a couple bands, and after about 5 years of playing in different bands here and there, and kind of, you know, getting used to playing in a real band. You know, it took many years to try to develop the whole touring system and getting along with other members, and, you know, learning chops and getting my skills together and in the style of instruments I want to play and everything. It was like really took about 5 years for me to develop into something where I could, you know, I was kind of called my own. And it was about 1989, I think. I was playing for a band called No Fraud. It's a punk rock band from Venice, Florida. And it was funny how I met D.R.I. I was living in a small town and I was over at my drug dealer's house.
Nice.
Get weed. Get some weed, and all of a sudden this guy comes running in through the front door, bust the front door down. He goes, whose car is that outside? And it's got D.R.I. stickers on the back. Who is that? And I said, that's my car. And he goes, man, I work for D.R.I. And it turns out he's a guitar tech for D.R.I. Lives in this small little horse town, one horse town where, you know, everybody knows each other, but I had just moved there. So I didn't know, I didn't know he was from there. And then he became one of my close friends and started doing sound with me in my other band. And then they had just finished doing the Thrash Zone record, and they were starting the tour up. And about 2 months into the tour, he called home and he goes, Rob, you got to get ready to do an audition with D.R.I. He said the drummer Felix quit on the road, and they're going to need somebody. They're going to have somebody fill in right now, but you need to go learn all the songs. And I said, really? Okay. So I went and I got a little studio for about 3 months, learned all the songs, and got an audition with D.R.I. out in California with like 45 other guys. I think it was like 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and then another date in Los Angeles. And they had some really big hitters that were playing. Amory from First Suicidal Tendencies drummer. He was trying out, and it was like, dude, I'm standing here with one of my icons, and it's like, I couldn't understand. The largeness of how you know how big this gig was. You know, I was still doing my own band stuff and everything, and I guess I was so good the first day that they asked me to stay the whole weekend through all the drummers and then play again at the very end, because I just knew the song so well. Yeah. And they were like, maybe we'll put you to work and give you a job as a roadie for the weekend, and then you can help put the drums and set up the drums and everything. So they gave me a job as the roadie. And I was like, wow, okay, so I get to stay the whole weekend now. Yeah. Yeah. I get to travel with, you know, a real touring band as a roadie. Sure. And then it was just, dude, I was so floored. I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening. And then, so, you know, I'm just went ahead and did the whole thing and sat through all the drummers. They had guys from all over the world playing, Chicago, Milwaukee, California. I mean, guys from just all over the world. And I had to sit through all of them. And it was really kind of hard to do that. And then I had to play at the very end again. By that time, I was so intimidated that I wasn't near as good as I was on the first day. Because I had, you know, I was just like, wow, I can't believe this. You know, these guys from all over the world. But then I sat down, I played a few songs, and they started going into detail with the songs about what was a little bit right, what was a little bit wrong. And I think that's it got thrown through a loop there at the end, because I thought that they liked me. That's why they asked me. But then they started scrutinizing me at the end. I don't know. I think it might have just been to see if they liked me, I guess. Right. You know? Right. Wanted to you know, feel the waters out and see if it was easy to work with, or, you know, how hard it would be to you know, for me to mold into, you know, what they needed. And then they were just like, okay, that's it. We'll call you. And then I was like, that's it. Oh, so nobody gets to figure it out. They said, we're going to have to figure out who's the best drummer, and we're going to pick somebody. Yeah. And so months later, I'm still, you know, waiting with anticipation about the call. And I figure, you know, I probably got a pretty good line on it, since I got in through one of the roadies, you know, who got me the audition. Right. So I was probably up there in the top 5, you know, I'm figuring. But they kept saying, just wait, we'll call you. A couple more months goes by, and we'll just wait. And then finally, after about 6 months, I think it was, then somebody called me, and the manager called me and said, can you move to California? And I was like, yes, I can move to California right now. Yes, to play drums with D.R.I. I will move to California. And
So really, we can attribute. So really, we can attribute all of it to weed.
It was the fact of what smoking weed and music bring together. You know,
Sure.
it's like,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Very serendipitous story. I love it.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, I mean, today, and that guy, Johnny was his name, Johnny Martin.
Yeah.
He's he ended up going on to be a auditorium stage sound guy for some big bands. Like one of his main acts right now is In This Moment.
Okay.
And he does sound for them and a couple other bands. I can't really think of any right offhand, but yeah, but he travels the main auditorium circuit with a lot of popular bands now, and so he did real good with himself, you know. And so I'm kind of happy that, you know, I would have hated having to go as far as I did and then have the guy who brought me in not do anything.
Yeah.
So that worked out real good, and I get to see him from time to time. And right now I'm on my I think I'm nearing 30 years playing.
You are. Yeah, you are. You know, it's interesting is D.R.I. hasn't put out a new album in many years, but they are still on the road very often though. You guys do tour quite often though.
Yeah, we are on a serious tour mode right now. It's one of the biggest tours this year because of the 40-year anniversary. We have more gigs lined up this year than we have in maybe almost 10 years. And we're all real happy about it, and we're going to a lot of really cool places. And you know, I'm getting ready to go to Europe next week for a really, really killer tour, doing a lot of the old Empire, old ruins types, places like Hungary and
yeah, that'll be fun.
And, yeah, some of these older cities with the ruins. I started looking at some of the stuff. I was like, man, I'm so thankful that I get to go to these places and play.
See the world. Yeah, absolutely. What was COVID like for you guys as a band, though? If you could take me back a couple of years when 2020 hit, you know, what did you guys have in the works, and did it derail a lot of plans for you guys?
COVID it was emergency brake going 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It was, you know, all the way to stop, and then that was it. It was like there ain't nothing going on. No one's going anywhere. We all got real sick. Yeah. Especially when we tried to get back together after COVID. Then we did our first tour as soon as it was over, and we all got sick.
Yeah.
And it was like every band that was trying to go out and do something, they all ended up coming back sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we figured, well, we'll wait 6 more months and then we'll go do it. So we waited 6 more months, still came back sick. And then you know, then they came out with all the booster shots and everything, and then we seemed to do all right after that. Yeah. After we all got inoculated and everything, and but it was a really scary situation because we were on tour at the time when COVID hit, and we were stuck in South America, and Trump had just closed the borders for United States, and he said everybody has 24 hours to get home. Yeah. And we still had one more show to do in South America, and then a small little time window to get back into the country before they locked us out. And it was like, man, we didn't know if we were going to make it back. You know, it's like we were sweating and going, oh man, should we cancel the show and just go home? What should we do? And we said, yeah, well, it's not going to matter anyways. It's still the weekend. It was on a Sunday, and they weren't going to shut it down till Monday. Right. I guess the day after Monday or something like that. So we're all like, we still can do it. And so we played the show, and we decided we're going home, and it was just chaotic, man. It just reminded me of a you know, major movie thriller of, you know, just end of times kind of thing. Everybody running around and Armageddon or something. Or it was weird, man. It was like, I mean, it's like really happening, you know. And I work in healthcare, so you know, like my day job is in healthcare as a nurse. So it was a really crazy time, and like we literally just stopped wearing masks at work. Just stopped within the last couple of months. So you know, it was part of the uniform for the better part of 3 years. I still see people wearing masks outside, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like I don't think it's ever going to go away now. I think it's,
no, it's in people's minds too. A lot of it is very psychological too. You know, people were afraid. We hadn't had anything come around and slap us like this since probably like the flu was a big thing, you know, early on when people couldn't get a handle on it.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's a very serious issue. People dying all over the world, you know.
Lots. Yeah.
Millions of people. It's like,
yeah.
I kind of looked at it as what a old friend told me one time, Mother Nature's population control.
Yep. That's what it is. These viruses.
Things like this happen, and just get rid of people because there's too many people in the world. And it happens every 40 years, I think, or something.
Yeah, self-cleansing.
Yeah, no, Mother Nature knows what's going on. So
yeah. And now, when you guys go out and tour, you know, obviously we can't replicate what we did, you know, 20, 30 years ago. You know, Father Time catches up with a lot of us. You being the guy in the band who drums, though, which is, you know, admittedly a very physical job. Has your drumming or your approach to drumming changed at all as you've gotten older? Are there things that you have to do or do differently? I'm
right in the middle of debating whether or not I have a Neil Peart syndrome, similar to like what happened to him when he started getting older, and then he had to teach himself how to play drums a totally different way than how he had been playing for years. Right. And I'm right on the edge of trying to figure that out. Slowly, I have been changing some stuff and developing more of a style, a D.R.I. style that I can call my own, that makes it pretty much impossible for anybody else to try to play what I'm playing. But for me, I've been doing it for so many years that it becomes natural. And I don't know, it ain't like being 30 years old anymore, you know. Right. Playing these songs at 330 BPMs. Some of these old D.R.I. songs is really challenging still. And but I have developed, like you asked, a certain way of playing that limits how many times I have to move my arm, and I like do halves on the fast parts instead of trying to do each one of those at 330 miles. It's like it's so fast. But I have developed a way to translate it into playing half the speed, but nobody, you know, it's going by so fast nobody can really tell. Right. And I do it in such a manner where it makes it almost sound just like the record when I play. And have you had to do any changing around of your actual set or change the position of any of the drums? Because I know I've talked to other drummers on here before who sometimes will like make like alterations to like where things are in terms of placement of their kit. I haven't done that yet. I was thinking about doing that yesterday, though. Yeah. I was thinking about, well, what if I go to Europe and I change the drums and put the drums over here instead? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if it might complicate it more than trying to solve issues. So I think if anything, what I would do is I would just add one more drum and put it somewhere closer. Yeah. But I'm right in the middle of debating whether I should do that or not, because I never know what kind of drum set I'm going to get when I go on tour. Right. I've been playing, 20 years now on a different drum set every night. So it's like thousands of drum sets I've been playing on, and I have developed a technique on making every drum set sound the same. Now that is very challenging. Yeah, I can imagine. Making each drum, a different drum set every night sound like my sound, every night. It's I don't know if you heard of one of these things called Torque P. It's a Evans makes it, and it's a locking mechanism on the drum key that makes it stop when you get to a certain pressure for the drum keys, and go around, and then it has a little dial on it, 1 through 9, and then you just put the set it on whatever setting that you're used to setting your lugs at on the drums, and then it just turns off when it gets to a certain pressure. So you get identical pressure on every one all the way around.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's magic, dude. It makes every drum, no matter what drum I'm playing, the same exact pressure every night. And that saved my life, dude. Once I figured that out.
And when you leave the band in 2014, and at that point you were already coming up on almost damn near 25 years with D.R.I. You leave for a 4-year window and you come back in 2018. For fans that might not know, what was that 4-year hiatus about? Was there a reason that you left for those 4 years? Was there other things that you wanted to do or achieve?
I was at a spot where I wasn't comfortable playing, doing what I was doing anymore. I was not real happy in my life, and I felt like I was just dragging the band down, really.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something. I didn't want to get mad at the guys, and they were already kind of getting mad at me because they could tell I wasn't happy. And so I made the decision to leave the band and try to, better myself before I even decided to do anything else. I knew I was in a bad spot, so I just left the band and went and got a real job for a while and started just paying attention to me and not worrying about doing music. And I had been playing for so long that I felt like I needed a break, and it really helped me out, man, because I was able to get more focused and see the world a little bit more in a different sense, a little bit wiser, and realize the mistakes I made along the way. So it was really a finding myself kind of moment, and it was kind of good for me because I ended up back out in California, and then as soon as I got back out to California again, it was like the band needed a drummer again. So it was like,
yep.
So I figured, it's worth a shot to call them and see if they want me to come back. I was ready to do it again. I had already been through it, and they were a little hesitant at first because I was, because of the decisions I made to leave the band, and they didn't want that to happen, and I understand it. So they let me ponder in it for a little bit, after saying, "Oh, we're not sure if we want you back. We got somebody else." And then I was like, "Okay, well, hey, man, I appreciate taking the time and talking to me and everything. It really means a lot." And then shortly thereafter, I got a call back. Spike, he's all like, "You want to play the drums?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to play the drums, man. Cool." He said, "All right," and put me right back in there. So
I got to imagine, though, that's not a decision that you arrive at lightly, though, because here you are with almost 25 years in this band, a successful band, a pioneering band, a band that gets a lot of credit when it comes to, innovators of that crossover sound. When we think of punk and hardcore, meshing with thrash, D.R.I. certainly at the forefront of that movement. So I got to say it's very commendable arriving at a decision to really focus on yourself and pull out of a band that you've been with for so long, though. That couldn't have been a decision that was easy to arrive at.
A lot of it had the decision that I made to do it finally was I started realizing that I wasn't going to do it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I would do with the rest of my life.
Right.
So it was really a life call. I had to learn how to live again before I could.
Sure.
I was not going to live very much longer at that point where I was in my life.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to live again, dude. And
but that self-awareness is great, though, being able to pull yourself out of a situation that a lot of guys would kill to be in. A successful band, you have a long tenure in that band, to be able to pull yourself out of it and say, have that self-awareness to say, I have to work on myself, is a thing that I don't think a lot of people would do.
It took a while. I had been thinking about it for almost a year before, but finally it had just come to a point where I knew if I was to go on one more tour that something really bad would happen to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just there was a lot of tension going on with the band, and nobody was really, it wasn't really like a band like somebody said, oh, this is every man for himself kind of thing. It was like,
yeah,
you know, it was almost like a mutiny every night. Everybody would do what they did to survive, and then nobody was together. It wasn't a team effort anymore. It wasn't really like being in a band anymore. It was really, we're gonna pull you out every weekend and bring you to a city you don't know, and then we're gonna run you loose in the city every night.
Yeah,
and hopefully you make it home. And it was kind of, you know, it's like that's what it seemed like. You know, you're gonna go pull somebody out and go take them to a weird city every night, and then not give them any direction or stuff to do. And it was like, yeah, I could just see it getting really bad real fast, you know?
Yeah. Now, obviously, D.R.I.'s got a lot of classic material out, but as I mentioned earlier, they haven't put out a new album since 1995. You know, is there any plan in the future for D.R.I. to do new music? I would be remiss if I didn't ask, and I'm sure people might beat me up in the comment section if I didn't ask.
Sure,
you know,
I understand. D.R.I., I don't believe will ever record anything new again.
Okay.
I did hear that that I think the last record was 2016 with But Wait, There's More.
Yeah.
And I think that was supposed to be the decision to record more or not, and that was right when I was leaving the band. And so they had a brand new drummer come in and play on that, and they weren't ready for it. So I think that really threw everything through a loop too, where it just made it even harder to want to do new music. And now it's like the other main reason is the D.R.I. has over 130 songs, and it's like we only play 30 of them every night. What are we going to do when we write 15 more new songs? You know,
right.
You know, we're taking away more songs that people want to hear every night.
Right.
And, you know, nobody wants to have to learn a new set like Metallica every night and you know, play everybody's favorite songs. That's what happens when you have over, you know, 100 hits. You know, you have to pick different songs every night. Nobody wants to do that because it's too much work. To have to learn. I mean, you have to be fully dedicated, and we all have other lives to live besides just playing in the band.
Absolutely.
So that would take away from our personal lives to do all that. So we want to make the fans happy, and we also like to be happy to work together. And so we had to make some compromises on what we could do and what we can't do in order for it to happen. So it was like, okay, well, you have to take the time where you used to practice all the time, and you have to decide whether or not you want to go on tour all the time, because you can't do both at the same time. And the other half of our time is taken up by our lives. So it starts taking your time, man. It's like there isn't enough time in a day to do what you want to do. You know,
right.
Ends up turning out that you have to do what you can do, and then make compromises. And that's kind of what we've been doing. We all want to play. We all want to travel the world. We all want to, you know, do new music, and we all want to, you know, write a new record. But there's only enough time a day to do one side of it.
Right.
You can't do half of one and half of the other. You have to do each side fully. You know, it's like, so I mean, it's been years and years developing, trying to figure out how to balance it and make everyone happy and us be happy at the same time. And I think we've done real well, even though some fans are going to get discouraged a lot of times, and I know they will, because I feel that I could really make one more record and make it shine and be real happy. You know what I mean? I would love to do that.
Yeah.
But it's not my band, so you know, it's like I wish I could do that, but I just currently in the process of doing some other original music with some of my other bands that I play with. Nothing serious, but at this point, I'm wondering, okay, so it's like there's no end in sight for D.R.I. for the end of tours. It's like I already see the rest of the tour going up through 2025 already. So it's like, and I still have all the way through. I have another 8 months that laid down of full booking, of touring that I have right now. So it's like there's no room at all for new music anywhere. It's
right. And as I mentioned, because you guys do so much touring though, and live that nomadic lifestyle, and you're on the road a lot, have you ever consciously given any thought to like a stop date on doing this, or do you kind of have the attitude like, I'll do this till the wheels fall off type attitude?
Rolling Stones, man.
Yeah. Be up there at 80, right? Be up there at 80 years old. Why not, right? I mean,
nobody stopped them.
Right. You're right.
We're not going to be the first band to do it.
Right. You're not. No. And talk to me a little bit about these other projects. I mean, the other stuff that you're doing, give them a shout out. I've got written down here. I was trying to make some notes in anticipation of our talk. The Power of Pain. Is that anything that you're still doing?
No, that was the first project I got back into when I got to California, but they have recently disbanded.
Okay.
Let's see, bands that I am doing. I had a band that I was playing with for a little while called the Drinking Machine Guns from Tahoe. A little punk rock project with some of my old friends from Florida and some of my friends from California. And right now they're on hiatus, but I'm trying to do a CD with them right now. It's called the Drinking Machine Guns.
Okay.
And you can it's on Facebook. You can find them on there. And then another band that I'm recently working on some drum stuff, putting drums to some recently recorded records, is Anti-Nowhere League.
Okay.
Anti-Nowhere League out of Atlanta.
Okay.
And I'm going to be releasing some stuff with them. And you can find them. I think they're on Bandcamp, and got a couple other ones out there. Not hard to find. And when you think about D.R.I.'s legacy, as I mentioned earlier, how much influence they had, really pioneered a sound. I give them almost, full credit. I mean, there are a couple other bands out there: Suicidal, Cryptic Slaughter, Corrosion of Conformity. There were a lot of other bands on that cusp of making that crossover sound. But when you look back, what do you think D.R.I.'s legacy is? Well, it's throughout the whole span of the career, there's so many different sections of what the band stood for and what they're known for. There was like when they first started out, they were known as the fastest band in the world. Mm-hmm. and then they started learning how to play crossover music, and then a lot of the punks didn't like them anymore, and they got sold out. And then now it's like where I feel like it was developed into almost an iconic brand name because of the thrash and the crossover and the punk rock all mixed together. Mm-hmm. Actually, that band that I was talking about is Anti-Terror League, not Anti-No.
Okay. Yeah.
Anti-Terror League.
Okay.
But anyways, I think it's an iconic symbol. The symbol itself is just, how can you have moshing without that?
I know.
Symbol of some sort,
it's like iconic. It's I equate it in the metal world as like the Michael Jordan, the Nike swish, or the Jordan Jumpman, or the McDonald's arches. It's synonymous with that guy. It's synonymous with with moshing and with metal music in general.
Yeah, it's definitely, it stands for a lot of stuff that I noticed that I'm getting new generations of kids that are now growing up that I would have never suspected they would ever listen to D.R.I, but they're just telling me now, it's like, man, we can't believe that, all these years of you playing drums has just been giving us so much insight, and thank you so much. And it was like, wow, I'm starting to get notoriety after all these years of things that before I never would have, never would have thought that I would ever gotten that much. And
Right.
really means a lot when a kid comes up to you and tells you that. It's like, it's really humbling, and I feel like I've done something, but also at the same time, knowing I don't have enough time to do everything I want to do, I kind of feel bad too, because it's like I would really love to do a new record.
Is the touring itinerary with all you guys, because you are on the road so much, is it difficult to iron out all the details? Because, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, we can't always do or behave the way we did years and years ago. Sometimes the narrative in our life changes. Maybe we have a job that doesn't allow us to travel, or we've got a family or children or whatever. Is it easy when you guys hash out all the details of going on tour, to make the itinerary and the schedule work for everybody's personal lives?
Oh no, we still miss flights, and we miss shows, and we always try to, but it's always somebody who can't always be there all the time, and
right. And life happens.
Trying to get everybody to get on the plane at the same time is nearly impossible to do.
Yeah.
And we just do our best, and so far we've been real lucky. We've only had a couple misses here and there, and we're just going to keep going, man. Just going to keep going, and, Rolling Stones all the way.
What should fans expect, though? Do you guys have anything special planned? What's the set list like? What's the the vibe going to be for these 40-year anniversary shows? Obviously, this is a big milestone right here. A lot of metal bands do not survive 40 years playing extreme metal music, punk music, hardcore, thrash, whatever you want to call it. 40 years is something pretty special. So what do you guys have planned?
Right now we are concentrating on playing a little bit of every record, like some of our favorite songs from each record. And it's kind of hard to do because everybody has a different idea of what their favorite song is from each record.
Right.
So, there's a little bit of bickering and trying to fight to keep your songs in there, and then having to drop songs every now and then, especially when you have a different show time. You might play for 90 minutes one night, you might play for 60 one night, you might play for 45. So it's always, we have 3 different sets that we have to play, depending on if it's a festival show or if it's a weeknight show or a weekend show. It's like fully different sets, which a lot of people don't keep that in mind. It's a lot of work to try to have switch over a whole time sheet and cram in 45 minutes out of 90 minutes. That's so like you already cut half of your set out,
right?
And trying to figure out which ones of those, which you've already cut out over 100 songs already, and then trying to cut each one of those out and trying to make it work for the time slot it's a really patient and grueling effort trying to make it all happen, and plus make the fans happy too. So we always take the most iconic songs and put them on the table first. It's like always got to play Madman, always got to play Couch Lounge, always got to play I Don't Need Society. Some of all the video songs. Got to play all the video songs. Got to play 5 Year Plan. It's like some of these songs are just so important to the whole reason of how D.R.I got to where they are. It's like there's a lot of songs that we just automatically, they're just automatic. It's like we're gonna play these songs, and it's really a difficult choice, man, because there's so many good songs, man. It's like I would love to play a 2-hour set. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Does it blow your mind when you look back and say, holy shit, where did 40 years go? I mean, I know you haven't been with the band all 40 years, but you've been there damn near almost all of it.
It is really, it really is to step out of the band for a second and take a look at it, and I go, wow, you know, nobody ever gave me a chance to learn about old age. You know, it's like I never got a chance to learn about what old age it might be like, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And now that I see it, I realize that nobody can teach you.
Right.
That's why they don't have somebody teaching you of old age, because nobody can teach you. You have to learn it in yourself.
Right. Right. I'm 50 years old, and you know, I just turned 50 this year, and yeah, I'm kind of realizing that too. And it does kind of suck, because you do start to think about your own mortality a little bit more too. You know what I mean? Which is not always a pleasant thought, you know?
No, it's definitely an eye opener, trying to figure out what the next thing is going to be. You know, it's like, I'm always hopeful that it might be another gig.
Yeah.
You know, that was always my first choice. So that's where I'm going to stay at for the time being. Maybe I'll get another gig with somebody else if it ends up stopping. I would love that, you know. And
when you guys are drawing up the set list, and the guys want to get some of those old songs that you were talking about, the really fast period of D.R.I. Is it tough to make that adjustment now as you get on in years playing those older songs, like where you mentioned earlier, those, you know, 300 beats a minute, you know what I mean, those really fast songs? Or do you find that, you know, you're still surprisingly able to, even as you've gotten older, play them well?
It seems that recently we have learned to embrace the older, quicker, faster songs, and that it brings a lot of comfort to play those songs, knowing that they came from that era, and that era is the only thing that's going to bring that era back is actually the music itself. So
you guys doing it, yeah,
and it puts you in a place where you would never normally be, and I think it's very healthy for us to play some of these older songs, because you know, I don't think at the time when they were playing the songs that they even knew what they were doing at the time. So it's still a learning thing, playing those songs and getting put back into that position for that moment you're playing the songs, and you can feel the time, you can feel yourself in that particular moment. And it really, are you okay?
There you go.
Really,
yep, I got you. Yep.
It's really, it really pleases me after the show to realize that I've gone through 40 years in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Living different moments in time, and you can feel it, man. You know, it's like it's part of you. And you know, it's a process, playing music process, that a lot of people don't get to do, especially some of the younger bands. And it's really humbling. I'm really thankful that I get to play with these guys, and you know, I just it's a 1 in a million type thing where I got into this band, you know, and I really appreciate it that they gave me such an opportunity to do it, and that I'm still here. And,
so fans that come out to the 40-year anniversary show, there will be a nice mix of all the things from all the songs from all the different eras of D.R.I. So the average D.R.I. fan will probably be happy. Like, this will be a nice blend, a nice retrospective of the whole career.
It is definitely a complete discography. If we had a discography record out, it would definitely be one of those.
Okay.
It goes through songs from every record, and it's not really in order, but it's the process of I think how the songs are written that makes it, when you come up to a certain song out of another song, that makes it the moment worth the experience to see the band.
Yeah. Well,
really,
I listen, man, I can't congratulate you enough, man. I mean, you know, surviving and being a rock warrior in this scene for so many years, man, is a true testament, man. And And it's very inspiring to hear somebody who's in a band for that long be able to step away. I hope people take that away and recognize how difficult of a thing that is to do, to step away, to work on yourself and come back and be a better person for it. So that part of the story is extremely inspiring. And of course, it's always great to have D.R.I. out and playing and celebrating 40 years. And I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this and make this happen, man. It's been a real pleasure getting to talk to you, man.
You too, Mike. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, brother. And hopefully we can keep in touch and we can do it again sometime down the road.
We'll be coming out your way September, I believe. So
okay,
I will. To have you down.
Awesome. I will do that for sure. Yeah, it was good talking to you, brother. Yeah, I think you guys are coming to Albany in September. Yeah, yep. I'm in upstate New York, so I'm only about an hour and some change away. So yeah, I'd love to make it out to that show. Absolutely, and hopefully we can say hi in person. That'd be great.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to having you come down. Be my guest.
I will do that, definitely. I appreciate it, Rob. Thanks for doing this, buddy. It was really a pleasure talking to you, man.
It was wonderful, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Talk to you later, man.
Okay, bye.
All right, later. And let's see if Rob knows how to log off here now. Red button at the bottom.
Okay,
looks like a phone. Red button at the bottom. It looks like a phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And there he goes, folks. That is Rob Rampy from D.R.I. A long, long tenure with that band. And why the fuck not? I mean, they are absolutely incredible. Certainly innovators, pioneers. Say what you want about them, man. OGs in the, initially the punk hardcore scene, and then, real pioneers of the crossover sound, i.e. bands like Cryptic Slaughter and Suicidal Tendencies and Corrosion of Conformity. But D.R.I. was right at the forefront of fusing together different elements of metal, specifically punk rock and thrash. And it's great to see them still out there, 40 years in the game, out celebrating it as we speak, or about to be out there celebrating it. And as you hear, going to be out there on the road, slogging it out, as Rob said, all the way up through and including 2025. So they will be out there for the next couple of years. I encourage you to go out and see the great D.R.I. As Rob said, they will be coming in my vicinity. So I may take Rob up on that and go down and see the boys. They're certainly not to be missed live. Certainly one of the most iconic bands to ever come around. Happy to call myself a fan of the Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, the great D.R.I., man. And just congratulations to them, man, because 40 years doing anything ain't fucking easy, man. And certainly kudos to Rob's personal story of walking away from the band at one point to work and focus on his own well-being. Not a lot of guys can pull themselves out of a band after 25 years and say, let me go work on me for a little while and then come back into the fold as a better person, man. So much love and respect for that alone right there. Just that self-awareness to know, like, hey, I got to be right first and foremost. So I always applaud that. That's just an absolute uplifting part of Rob's story. And go see the great D.R.I., support them. Yeah, they haven't put out an album in a long time, man. But as Rob said, there are hundreds of fucking great D.R.I. fucking songs. At one point, they were the fastest, nastiest band on the fucking planet, man. And go out and support them, man, and celebrate with them. 40 fucking years in the game, man. That's really, really an accomplishment, man. And I hope you guys enjoyed that interview as much as I enjoyed it. Thank you to Rob Rampy for doing it. And remember, guys, until we get together and we do this thing again, remember to take it easy and please keep it sleazy.